Okay, welcome guys, welcome. So, tonight, everybody ready? Can everybody hear me? Everybody can hear me? Perfect. So tonight's class, we're going to do a class on spiritual detox. We're going to talk about this book called Tikkun haklali. I think we only have five or six left. And basically the reason why I'm here to talk about this book is this book saved my life 25 years ago. Literally in South Beach. And I said to myself, if I got saved from this book, I'll spend the rest of my life helping people with this. Thank God, with over 10,000 people on the WhatsApp group, I've helped a lot of people from Rabbi Nachman's teachings. So again, this class is a very solution-oriented class. I'm not here to talk about history. I'm not here to talk about fluff. I know there's a major singles crisis. I know there's a major problem with people committing to marriage. And we have to understand where it's coming from. I myself had ADHD, OCD, depression, anxiety, brain fog, you name it, herniated disc. And I never knew it was due to something spiritual. I thought it was something physical. So I went to doctors, and the doctors told me, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Take this, take this. I never understood there was a spiritual problem. So again, according to your theory is your therapy. If you think your therapy is, these symptoms have nothing to do with, or has nothing to do with my zivug, my spirituality, then obviously it's not going to help you this class. But if this class, if you think there's a spiritual issue, then you're going to definitely get the advantage of this class. It's very important you understand that. That Rabbi Nachman said, most of the problems that they're coming from klipot. Does everyone know what klipot are? Shells. These are, for example, let's say a guy's in shape and a guy's not in shape. And he eats all this garbage. I'm not saying God forbid here, God forbid. But you ask him, listen, you have diabetes. You keep on eating sugar, you're going to get your arm cut off. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, well, why are you not getting that message? It's because he has a blockage. He has a blockage that can't understand what's here. The same thing when you have a guy, he has a beautiful girlfriend, beautiful fiance. Why aren't you not just committing? She's your wife. That's the one for you. No, I don't know if I'm sure yet. It's not normal that a guy should have so many blockages, or even girls. Girls can also get klipot from having partners. We have to understand that the seed comes from the brain. So whatever person mates with, he's getting that energy. We have to understand that. So it's the bottom line is, I want to explain to you, it's not you. You're a soul, but there's a lot of klipot on the soul. And what we want to do is want to eliminate. And where do we know this from? Where's the source from this? We know Dinah, right? Dinah, she got raped by Shem, and her brothers had to literally drag her out of the house. Somebody that got raped by somebody, how could you need to drag her out of the house? Because she got attached to the klipa. So that's what this impurity does. So Rabbi Nachman came out with this remedy 250 years ago. You're going to see it in the book. It's 10 Psalms that he came out with the exact formula on how to get rid of these klipot. We're going to talk about what the klipot do, what are the symptoms of a klipot, and how to fix it. And I promise you, like I said, I have seen magical changes. I've seen people's face change. I've seen people look 10 years younger. I've seen people have glow on their face. There's an identity theft right now. You don't even recognize the person anymore. And that's the potential when you connect it to spirituality, that you could see. You feel differently, you feel lighter, etc. But when a person is so blocked that he can't even understand, he can't even hear one word of Torah, it bothers him. It's not him. It's a klipa. And we need to understand the difference. If you understand that, then at the end of the day, you're going to put all your energy in what? Detoxing. If you don't think you have a problem, then obviously you're not going to put the energy. So that's why it's very important to understand where the problem is. Now, again, I have 10,000 people on my WhatsApp group. I've tried this hundreds of times. I've had friends that magically changed their life. They found the zivug. Rabbi Nachman says in lesson 87, something very key. He says, specifically for men, that on account of keeping the Brit, That's how you will merit your zivug. You understand? A male wants, it's the male's job technically to go find the second half of his soul. It's the male, because the male has to find what is missing in life. And his wife is the second half. So the male himself has to look for it. What's the one thing that gets in the way? Is the pigam in the brit, the klipot from past relationships that were never rectified. These things happen. It's not to be in shame. It's not, listen, I was there. I almost intermarried. I was throwing parties in South Beach. If I didn't lose all my money, I would never wake up. I was there, so I know what it is. You can't BS me. I'm in the game. I was there. I threw the parties and all that. But I was severely depressed. And I didn't understand why I was so depressed and why I had such emotional swings. And I tell people very simple. Life is hard enough. You don't need klipot. It's one thing the guy is dealing in life. He's dealing through stress and having an extra 400 pounds on him. It takes a part. You can't handle so much. So Rabbi Nachman came out with a magic formula, and there's specific 10 psalms that a person has to say. And these 10 psalms have the exact same value as the klipa that causes the damage. There are 3 klipot. There are normally from Yehezkel's vision. The first klipa is called the ruach sa'ara. Ruach sa'ara is called the storm wind. What would we talk about a storm wind today? A storm wind is a negative feeling, a very negative, emotional ups and downs, extra negativity, always negative, a lot of despair, a lot of yush, giving up very easily. That's not you. People need to understand, that's not me. It's not normal for when you hear 24-year-old kids that want to commit suicide. What? When you hear people, my life is over at 30, God forbid. What is that? 30 years old, you have a whole life ahead of you. There's an inner klipa that's causing. And when you want to help the person, what happens? They say, I'm good, I don't have a problem. You understand? So the klipas, what they do is they block spirituality. Number one job of a klipa, it's to block spirituality. Number one thing. That means, how come it's so easy? We never hesitate when we go out. But anything spiritual, you need a hesitation all the time. Why is it so hard? Everything we want to do, let's go to a class. The momentum fuses. Next thing you know, I want to pray. You lose the momentum very quickly. It's because this is coming from klipot. So, and Rabbi Nachman says that most of our problems are coming from the past garments and the past things. Now, once I found out about this, what did I say? What do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? So that's why it's not enough to talk about the Tikkun haklali. Baruch Hashem, I bought 40 books. And, in LA, we're going to LA in February. I'm gonna bring 500 books to that class. Because this is the problem. So we have the ability to use this cleansing. The 10 Psalms you're going to see in the book are 16, 32, 41, 42, 59, 77, 90, 105, and 137, 150. Those Psalms, you can even look them up if you don't have a book. But those same Psalms have the specific numerical value to fix these klipot. Let's give an example of what a klipa does. For example, Rabbi Nachman says that most of the pain and suffering that we're going through, specifically for guys, is due to klipot. Why? Because the ultimate transfer in Kabbalah, if anybody knows anything about Kabbalah, is to transfer the shefa down. Is for the shefa to come down whole, right? I'm going to give you just look at a chart, for example. So this is the way Kabbalah 101. Basically, it's a pipeline, and the shefa comes down, and our job is to make sure that there's no blockages in anywhere. So the majority of the blessing gets held on the yesod. That's where most of the klipot are the problem. Yesod means your foundation, means the covenant. So from there to there, if that's broken, it's like getting $1 million order that's stuck in customs. Yeah, you got the $1 million order, but you can't get it out. Can't get it out of customs. Imagine you have $1 million order, it's stuck in customs. Why is it so difficult? Why is this the main test? It's because that's the main test for guys in life. So without that transfer, there's no shefa. How do we know this from also? We know from Yosef Atzadik. right? Yosef HaTzadik. A miracle happened for him. Why? Because he overcame the test. Now, where the women have to understand is, like I said many times, the more physical you get in a relationship, the less chance you have of the guy committing. It's the bottom line. I hate to tell you, I talk black and white. I hate to tell you, but I see the same pattern. I said, why are you calling me with the same thing? You get the same lesson in life until you pass it. And you need to understand that. You get the same lesson in life until you pass it. If the guy already gets what he needs, he's already checked out. I got what I need. It's like giving a car. Here, I'm going to give you 30 days before you buy the car. You can lease it for 30 days and just drive it all you want. Who's going to come back and buy the car? You know what he's going to say? You know what? Let me try a different car. Tesla's out, something else. But you got to understand, that's the problem. So we need to understand that people want what they can't have. People want what they can't have. And you give it to them right away, sei gesund. Sei gesund. But it's finished. So, and why? Why specifically is this going to be a problem for men? It's going to be a problem for men because they're going to be cooled off spiritually. And the decisions to get married are not coming from a physical, coming from a spiritual end. So that's why it's so important. And I'm like, I listen to many classes on zivugim and this and that, and nobody's talking about the big elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. Why don't you talk about the elephant in the room? No, let's talk about other things. But this is the problem. And this is why, like we said, when a person does keep the brit, then he'll marry to have clarity, then he'll say, that's my wife. And he'll make that decision and he'll get married. But once he's confused, it's like giving a kid, tons of sugar, and next thing you know, tell him, why are you not focusing on the test? Why are you not focusing? Who should you yell at? The kid or the parent? Give the kid Coca-Cola sugar. I don't understand, doctor. I think he has OCD. He can't concentrate. Why are you giving him so much sugar? So that's our tikkun. And Rabbi Nachman already knew this. He already knew this was a problem. And he knew that this was the number one problem. Once I started fixing this, 20-something years ago, my businesses opened up, my mazal opens up. The same word for mazal is motzi zela levatala. Why do you need mazal? Motzi zela levatala means spilling the seed. What do you need mazal for? Your mazal, generally what your mazal does, it guides you on your mission in life. Your mazal protects you so you go in the right mission in life. But if you go in the wrong mission, what happens? Your mazal, when you burn it out and person wastes his life on stupidity, what happens? Your mazal, the koach of the mazal gets very diminished and it no longer protects you because basically you wasted the battery on stupidity. That's the bottom line. So what the Tikkun haklali does is it gets the klipa back in its place. Now, some of the issues with Tikkun haklali, what do? This is coming from the Zohar. This is not coming from, and even now, doctors are proving the same thing. When there's an overindulgence issue, again, I'm not here to talk about shame. I'm not talking about this. Whatever happened. The milk spilled. Whatever it is. What do we do next? What do we do next? I don't want to talk about, I feel bad. I did this. That's not going to get you anywhere. You didn't know. I didn't know either. I didn't know. So that's why it's not without the book. It's just potential. Only until we start reading the Tikkunim do we start putting the klipa back into place. Specifically for men also. Men should go to the mikveh. Why to go to the mikveh? What is a klipa? Klipa is a negative wind. It's a ruach ra. It's like a negative spirit. Right? What happens? That negative spirit sucks energy from the person. Male or female. Sucks the energy out of you. All of a sudden you're exhausted 9 o'clock in the morning. You're already exhausted. You're emotionally exhausted. It's not you. It's almost like I would say, if you eat something, right? You can eat just enough food and you feel great. But if you eat too much, what happens? You want to go to sleep. How does that make any sense? You figure the more food, the more fuel. But what happens is whenever there is an excess, the klipot, the other side gets that. Any kind of excess, the other side gets it. So you can see a guy can eat 1 sandwich, he'll be okay. 2 sandwiches, he's knocked out on the floor. Why? Because too much food your body can't handle it. So what? The other side takes it. Believe me, did I have obstacles to coming to this class today? I had a false alarm with my wife almost gave birth tonight. Anytime I talk about Tikkun haklali, my 2 days are completely shut. With nothing but headaches and obstacles, and I almost canceled the class literally an hour ago. It's always like this, so that's why I don't want to talk about Tikkun haklali. It's such a headache. Let me just talk about mindfulness, and nobody cares about that. but that doesn't do anything. We all know that doesn't do anything. But the Tikkun haklali, what it does is it puts back that negative wind. So when a person goes into the mikvah, what does he do? He's choking the wind. He's choking, because a wind cannot survive in the mikvah. So what does the mikvah do? It chokes the wind. It sucks the wind. So the guy comes out, after the mikvah, the guy comes out much lighter. Now, if I have clarity, I have the right wife, I commit. But if I have klipot and all kinds of, I'm definitely not in my soul state, then I'm not going to commit. And I see that's the problem with guys. There's wonderful girls ready to get married, but what happens? These guys get confused. They don't want to commit. They don't want to commit. There goes. Then what happens when they don't want to commit? They go after the wrong types of girls, and next thing you know, I don't like those Jewish girls. They're too tough on me. I like these girls. They don't give me a massage. They don't give me this. All they tell me is what to do. But it's not you. It's not you. It's klipot. And we need to understand. We'll answer the questions after. There'll be plenty of questions on klipot. So Rav Nachman says all pain and suffering exists from these klipot. Because anything, remember guys, anything that is not mitigated, if something is not mitigated, it becomes an obstacle. If it's not mitigated, if it's not put back into place, it becomes an obstacle. Rav Nachman says here that it also, remember, where does the seed come? It comes from the brain. It comes from the brain, it goes down the spinal cord. It goes all the way. So herniated disc, all those things are what? Symptoms of that. God forbid if there's other things that people are watching, what happens? Your brain gets hijacked on dopamine. So once your brain is hijacked on dopamine to such a high level, right? What happens? Then you can't maintain at that level. You go on a date with somebody, you're thinking about something else. You won't appreciate the small things in life, like opening up a door for a girl. You lose the small touches of being a gentleman because your person's mind is on such a high dopamine level. And when you're on a high dopamine level, what happens? Just the same effect as a drug. It hijacks your brain. It hijacks your brain the same way. And once you come from that high, what happens? You're going to crash. And then you walk around life with low dopamine. What do you think are the symptoms of low dopamine? Other addictions. No energy, lack of willpower, lack of spirituality, lack of wanting good things. Just get me out of my head. Here comes the marijuana, here comes the video games, here comes the whatever it is, you're filling that void of not having a life of meaning. But with all this crazy addictions that we have, God forbid, we don't have meaning, we don't have much in life, and all we're doing is numbing. What are addictions? An attempt to solve a problem. When I get the phone calls that the guy says, listen, my wife left me. I said, your wife left you? 3 kids. I said, why would she leave him? Next thing you know, I find out the guy has a pornography addiction. Maybe this happened 40 times, 40 phone calls. I'm like, why are they calling me? Maybe because they feel comfortable with me, that I'm not going to judge them. But the statistics are 56%. Divorces are due to the other spouse dealing with this issues with pornography. 56%. Not 10%. 56%. Exactly what Rabbi Nachman's saying in lesson 87, that as a cause, that the cause of a person losing his zivug is dealing with what? Is dealing with a blemish in the brit. You understand? It's not so comfortable to talk about this, but again, I'm here to help. I'm not here to judge, but 56% is the number. Why? Because if the male's watching this, or he's somewhere else in his mind, and he's not giving the light to his wife. So what happens? His wife all of a sudden starts seeing this, gets this negative spirit from him. So all of a sudden she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and she'll start opposing him. Rabbi Nachman says, she will oppose you. She will oppose you in everything you want to do. You want to go right? She'll tell you to go left. She tells you to go up, go down. She becomes opposing you. Why? Because her light you went this way, and her light went that way. So the way to fix it is through, obviously, Tikkun haklali, or in the mikvah, because that brings her back. Now, as far as the girls, what do you do with all these relationships with all these guys who you can't prevent that? You have to do tikkun also, because that will help you also clear the mind. Because anytime a person has relations with somebody, he's getting his dot. If this guy's dot is downloading, who knows, you're getting affected by that. That's why a person feels so low sometimes from this. It's not just because of the thing, it's because of the transfer of dot that person got. So again, it's not, this is the solution to singles. The guys will never commit unless they fix this. So what I do is I tell everybody there's a 40-day challenge. 40-day challenge is do Tikkun haklali for 40 days and go to the mikvah. And people have all of a sudden, you don't want to believe it. That girl called me back, I was dating. I don't know what happened. You attracted her back. You attracted her back. You wouldn't believe, all of a sudden my boss wants to do the deal again. What's happening? What's happening? You're getting rid of klipot, which are the obstruction to the shefa, to the blessings in life. You understand? That's what the obstructions are. It's really nothing else, because without fixing this, it's very hard to get connected to anything else. Kabbalah speaks about the four types of elements, right? You know, if there's a balance in the four. When a person's sick, right? There's 4 elements. The 4 elements have to be in harmony. We know the 4 elements are what? Earth, fire, water, wind. Correct? If there's harmony in the 4 elements, there's healing. If there's disharmony in some of the elements, what happens? Then there's no healing. There's a disconnection. There's an imbalance, and that's what causes, God forbid, some kind of sicknesses, God forbid. So through the Tikkun haklali, which represent the 10 types of pulses, because we have 10 types of pulses, 10 types of songs, and 10 sfirot. It's all in Kabbalah. So when there's a disconnect and there's missing light in one of the sfirot, it's because there's a defect in that pulse. So for example, let's say a guy has a problem with excesses things. Things are too excessive in life. He likes everything in excess, so he's too water-like. Right? He's a water sign. He wants everything in excess. So he could be the nicest guy in the world, super friendly, but he's too excessive. So his problem is he's going to have too much excess, just like if I put too much water in a plant, it's going to die. It has to be a little bit. So his tikkun is not arrogance, his tikkun is excess. Let's say another guy's tikkun is, we're all born with some kind of problem in our character that is more prominent than another one. Let's say another guy's an air sign. Air signs are very egotistical people. All day long. Ego. He's up in the air, talking. For him, it's very hard to commit to something because he's always in the air. But he could be a great politician, are great airs. All day long, they're talking. But when it comes down to practicality, let's talk about a fire sign. Fire signs are people they have to watch their anger. Very, very angry people. They're more predominantly angry than other people, but they're fire signs. Let's talk about earth. Earth is very depressed, very, very lethargic, very hard to get going. So that person would be a very good person dealing with computers, or an accountant, or somebody that's very in a grounded position. He's not a salesman. He's a grounded guy. Where a fire guy could be a great motivational speaker. He could be a great leader, but if he gets too hot, he's going to burn people out. Or a wind guy, he's very creative. He can be great at arts. So once there's an excess, that means you have a gift in that particular sphera, but that same sphera, that same energy, if it's not channeled properly, it can burn you out. And when it burns you out, it causes excess, and that's what causes sicknesses. So where does that happen? That also happens in the pulse. That's why Chinese medicine, they check your pulse. Because your pulse is an indication of what your body's feeling. The Baal Shem Tov, he used to feel a person's pulse. He used to already know the sickness of that person through his pulse, because the pulse would indicate a specific pattern. For example, if a person has a lower back pain, right? If you go to acupuncture, for example, they'll see that it's a sharp, tense, knotted pulse. So they could tell right away from that pulse what's the guy's problem. Or they'll say, oh, you have a problem, maybe the guy's a problem in the spleen. Oh, he's an overthinker. He overthinks too much, so you can affect different parts. So the same thing with the Brit would definitely be in the Yesod, in the part of excess, which is water. The 10 Psalms specifically that we're going to talk about, these 10 Psalms, each one has specific segula, a specific remedy that has for a specific klipa. The numerical value of Tehillim is 485. The numerical value of the Samech Mem's wife, which is Lilth, is also 485. So it combats it directly with that specific klipa. It's not like the guy can just read any psalms. He has to read those psalms, and he has to read them in order. It's better if the person should read them in transliteration. If we have these books, you can see they're in transliteration. It's better to say the words in Hebrew. But you can see on the bottom, it's transliterated. You can get it transliterated even if you have to say it in English, but better Hebrew. If you don't understand Hebrew, transliteration. If you don't understand transliteration, do it in English. You're also going to understand. It seems very simple that we have this beautiful book here. Oh, that'll be easy. I'll just say it for 40 days straight. Nothing's going to... It'll be easy. Next thing you know, your mind is going to play games with you. After you do it 2 or 3 times, you're not even going to be able to open up the book. Why? How about that? Because that's the power. Anytime you have something spiritual that's going to fix your life, there are klipot that like to keep you there. Let's say you're a Black American Express member for 20 years. They're not going to leave you so easy. So anytime there's spirituality, it's going to take a lot of effort because you're a good member. Remember, the other side, the klipot, they get sustenance on the fallen kedusha. Anything that's not channeled properly, they get sustenance from it. You understand? They get sustenance, so they get energy from the other side. I know it sounds like sci-fi, spiritual kind of stuff, but this is reality. And people need to understand that it's not them. I need to understand this is not me. It's not me to sit there and act this way and get depressed and get emotional and go through these crazy ups and downs. It's something that's attached to me. It's a klipa. It's not me. That's what you need to understand. It's like very simple. Are you a soul or you're a thought? I'm a soul. Now, if all of a sudden I start attaching myself to thoughts that I don't want, then I become the thought. But I'm not the thought. I'm a soul. We need to understand that, because otherwise, if you think, people say, oh, this is the way I am, or they'll start blaming their DNA, or they'll start blaming their mother, or their father, or they'll start, whoever, that's nothing more but the Yetzer Hara putting something in your mouth to tell you that. I also came up with all these things. Oh, my father was in Colombia, maybe something in Colombia. Why am I so depressed? Oh, my mother had depression. She takes pills. This is all nonsense. Your brain is neuroplasticity. You can change it, and it's not you. It's you. These are klipot. It's not you. You need to understand that very clearly, because you're going to start wanting to read. And next thing you know, the motivation is going to not be there. You're going to be motivated to do everything else. But this, you're going to see. People have called me. I don't understand. I can't open up the book. If you can't open up the book, then that's what you need to be doing. The person needs to do exactly what it bothers him. Anything that bothers you in life is exactly what you need to do. That means we can't act the way we feel. Because if we act the way we feel, what's going to happen? You're going to say, I forgot to do it. Because the key is to say it 40 days consecutively straight. Because anytime you say something for 40 days straight, it has the power to nullify something. You understand? So 40 days straight, and it has to be every day, predominantly in the mornings. Mornings before the night. Because some people say you can't say Tehillim at night. People go to Russia. Every Uman, there's almost 70 to 80,000 people that go to Russia. In the middle of Ukraine. They're not going to they're staying in little cabins, and you can see people sleep on it's raining, and they grunge it out over there. How come 80,000 people are there? It's because when they get to Rabbi Nachman's teachings, there's a light that they've never experienced before. You can go to a mikveh in Uman, and you'll see gangs there, tattoos. Where'd you come from, brother? That's the power of Rabbi Nachman. He's able to get somebody from such a low level to such a high level. That's the power of Rabbi Nachman. They can bring you up from such a low level to where you are today. where many other sects can't do that. But he knew that the main problem was this. That means you're not going to be able to get the second base until this is solidified, because without this, the braid's not working properly. If the braid's not working properly and you're spinning all day long, then you're not going to get the perception. Okay? So some of the other things that Ramachan says here, in lesson 83, he says that through the Tikkun haklali, through a person fixing this, what's going to happen? He's going to merit Shabbat. Many people are very difficult for them to do Shabbat. Now, if you give me $10 million not to do Shabbat, I wouldn't take the money. But for some people, Shabbat I don't feel it. It's not that you don't feel the holiday, it's a klipa, again. You give me $10 million right now, I'll tell you, keep the money, I want Shabbat. But if you tell that to anybody who keeps Shabbat, they'll tell you, I agree with you, I'll pay $20 million. But somebody who's not into it, is because it's not, again, it's a klipa that's stopping you. It's stopping you. So that's why he says, through fixing the braid, then you'll merit Shabbat. Then after you merit Shabbat, then your mazal will go up and your wealth will come. So many people are afraid to get married because I don't have enough, or I'm not going to have enough money. But the problem is, you need to understand, the mazal comes from the wife. So you have to get married, because through marriage, you're going to keep the brit. When a person's married, he solidifies the brit. And then the mazal comes and opens up. So you want the chicken or the egg? What do you want? The chicken or the egg? That means your mazal is not going to be 100% until you get married. Once you get married, that's when the mazal comes. So a guy has to sit there, okay, so what am I doing here? What is this entertaining costing me? What are these girls costing me? And of course, Miami, you have 10 times the test than most people do here. Because here they'll do anything. I hear secretaries of mine. I want a Jewish guy. Are you Jewish? No, I want a Jewish guy. So they're recruiting the Jewish guys. We all know that. They're recruiting. And yes, like I said before, everything looks wonderful in the beginning. It's just like a friend. He jumps off the building and you ask him, how's it going? So far, so good. But you know what happens after? He crashes in the ground. So like I said, it might sound and it might look, you could say, listen, I don't know, my friend did it. He's happy. But wait until the Christmas tree comes to the house. Wait until Joel comes. Wait until the mother-in-law comes with the nativity scene. Well, I didn't sign up for this. You know what? I have a second opinion on it now. What do you do now when you have kids and all that? And she wants to go back. So there's South Beach converts and there's righteous converts. One's converting for capital, one's converting for Hashem. So we need to understand that. So like I said, and I have many of my friends that they did it, they thought they were the greatest girls, next thing you know, he lost a little money in business. You know what? I didn't marry you for your Jew. I married you for something else. And I hate to talk so candid like this, but I see it. It's not like I don't see it. I see people jumping off buildings, everything's amazing, and then boom, just like that. So we need to know, we need to really, if you want a soulmate, you have to be in your soul state. You can't be in a klipa state. That means I have to spend more time becoming the one. If the issue is me attracting the one, I have to focus more on spiritual work and my relationship with Hashem, and then let Hashem find my zibug. But if I'm just looking for the person without working on myself, then what happens? It's a problem. Because the tikkun is on the self, on the person himself, to work on it. And obviously we have many issues like that. Also, Rabbi says here in lesson 169 that another issue in the single market with zivugim is pride. We know that before Hashem makes the guy fall, first he lifts them up. Look at the politicians. He says, first comes pride, right? What is pride? She's not good for me. I want this better. No, I want that better. No, I want this better. No, I want that better. Well, you don't have enough? What is enough? That's another thing. Without spiritual, you only focus on physical. You look for a trophy wife instead of a wife that gets you the trophy. You're just looking for the trophy wife that has nothing to do with your soul. What happens? You married the wrong wife, and you can have the most beautiful wife in the world. If you're not connected with her spiritually, Sucks. There's no marriage. There's no emotion, there's no marriage. Believe me. So this is the key. So the first thing we do is we need to understand that the three klipot are. The one is the great cloud. Great cloud means cloudiness in life. Very, very cloudy. Things are very cloudy. I don't understand anything. I have a lot of doubts. I have just a big cloud over me. Every decision, I don't know if it's the right decision. That's the great cloud. The second one is called the flashing fire. Flashing fire is a form of an addiction. The flashing fire. Flashing fire means this rush to get this anger or addictions or flash. That's called the flashing fire. And the last one is the ruach sa'ara. Ruach sa'ara is a form of negative wind, a negative spirit that makes a person talk very negative. You know, some people are very, 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 very negative. It's not their soul, but they get a clip on them. They just want to go and destroy everything. Nothing's good. Everything's a disaster. Very pessimistic. It's something within them that's causing this, and that's the shell. So each psalm that we're dealing with here has a specific remedy for that. As far as characteristics, let's say, of klipot, very absent-minded, desire for isolation, easily irritated, can't focus mind, too much daydreaming, lack of motivation. Imagine marrying somebody with no motivation. How miserable is that? No motivation. You're getting up before they are. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? It's a klipa. Where is that coming from? Moodiness, depression, God forbid, these negative thoughts, because remember, anytime you're allowing something outside klipot, that's what they do. The number one thing the klipot want to do, and the Yetzer Hara wants to do to a person, is keep him depressed. Number one. Because when you God forbid, a person's depressed, he loses his mind, and he goes to completely different things. So that's why Rav Nachman says, if you believe you can destroy, you can repair. So practically, I don't want to talk too much because the information is on the book, but practically, you have these 10 Psalms. Everybody can look it up on Tikkun haklali PDF. They must be said every single day for 40 days straight. Depending on how much cleansing is needed, you have to continue the cycle. And then right away, a person will automatically, you'll feel different. You'll feel lighter, you'll feel more focused, you'll feel more wanting spirituality. Because it's not like the guy doesn't want that. He has to want it. It's you're part of God. That means your soul comes from part of God. How could I not want it? What's blocking me? It's these things. So that's why I don't want to overburden you guys too much, but this is where the work has to be done. This is where the work has to be done on a practical thing with dating. If the person's not open-minded to some kind of spiritual classes, then guess what? What happens normally when a person doesn't have that spirituality? What does spirituality do in life? It makes you be happy with less. You're more content with less in life. I don't have to be here on Shabbat. I'm not missing out. I'm Shabbat, I can be here. I don't need the next moment. I'm happy in this moment. But when you don't have the spirituality, what happens? You need the next moment. And then when you get to the next moment, you need the next moment. And when you have the right wife, the right girl, you need the next girl. She's not good, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that. All this nonsense that's killing the market today. It's killing the market today. And I say most of it, that's why in Israel, you don't have 1,000 people. They get married right away. Young, they get married. There's no this issue that we have today. So again, on practical on the women's side, yes, you can get the klipot. You would say the same psalms. That will help you. That will help you with the mental fatigue, mental yush, specifically the giving up easy. The emotions of giving up easy, that's specifically a klipa. Anytime you have this feeling of giving up easy, very, very, very down all the time, it's a klipa. Okay, so may Hashem help us that we should read the Tikkun haklali. And again, for men, you have to go also to the mikvah, I recommend, and I guarantee you'll see results. This is a guarantee. It worked with me, it's already worked with hundreds of people, and this is where I start. When you work on... As much as you can. As much as you can. It also changes the person's face. It changes the person's face. But remember, the point of the mikveh is you're choking the water. You're choking the water, the wind from the water that's causing this. So when 80,000 people go to Uman, what do you think they go there to do? They go to say the Tikkun haklali. Why does the guy need to go and spend $3,000 to go to Uman? Cross the middle of Ukraine, right? To go say 10 Psalms. Why do you think he goes there? It's because when you say it, it has that power. And Rabbi Nachman guaranteed that somebody who goes to Uman and says the Tikkun haklali, he can get the guy out of any mess, out of any problem he's had in his life. So you see tons of people there that spend Rosh Hashanah and they fix this because Rabbi Nachman, that was his specialty, was fixing the person's vessel. Remember, we want light, but if we don't have appropriate vessel for that light, what happens? The vessel breaks. If the vessel breaks, then that's where you have the failures and all that. Okay? So may Hashem help you guys. And remember, on dating, look for a guy who's spiritual. If the guy's not satisfied, he's not going to be satisfied without a different mindset. Anybody, we have classes almost every day. If anybody's not on the WhatsApp group, you can put your number down, we'll send you the classes also. But without the proper dot and the right formula and the right strategy, then